This week on ANN, Adventist humanitarians conduct initial assessments in wake of the deadliest earthquake of 2017.
More than 3,100 people in Eastern Papua New Guinea receive medical exams during a free health expo.
And the official broadcast network of the Adventist Church goes digital in Fiji, allowing the majority of residents to access the Christian programming.
These stories and more coming up.
Officials are calling it the deadliest earthquake of the year. More than 500 people have been killed in Iran and Iraq as a result of the earthquake that struck the border between the nations last week.
More than 7,000 people also sustained injuries due to the 7.3 magnitude earthquake. A substantial number of fatalities and injuries occurred in Iran.
The powerful earthquake was felt as far as Israel and the United Arab Emirates. A team from the Adventist Development and Relief Agency in Kurdistan is conducting initial assessments.
We'll bring you more news about relief efforts as their work unfolds.
More than 3,000 people in the eastern highlands of Papua New Guinea received free comprehensive care through last month's Adventist Health Expo. Numerous services were offered for all ages during the expo in Goroka. Medical professionals and nutritionists explained the link between smoking and cancer, conducted eye exams, or addressed gynecological concerns. In addition, nurses performed blood pressure screenings, checked blood sugar levels, and measured the body mass index for 990 people. Those whose conditions were too severe to be treated at the clinic were referred to the local hospital. The expo was organized by the Adventist leaders in the Eastern Highlands and leaders who oversee all of the church's operations in Papua New Guinea. Health workers also discuss immunizations, hand hygiene, breastfeeding, dental health, and family planning.
Hope Channel Fiji this month became the only 24-hour Christian television station in the archipelago nation. The milestone was reached when the country switched its broadcasting format from analog to digital. Hope Channel Fiji is currently broadcast through the digital platform Walesi. The network is now able to reach 94% of the population through the platform. Leaders are also planning to broadcast via satellite in the future. The expansion to satellite will give all Fijians and residents of smaller outer islands access to the channel.
Several Caribbean islands still recovering from the recent hurricanes were recipients of hundreds of cleaning kits from the Adventist Church. 1,000 kits were assembled by members in the church's Allegheny East region of the United States. They were given to the church's Inter-American territory for distribution on the island of St. Thomas, Anguilla, Tortola, and St. John. Supplies were also sent to Dominica and Antigua for the displaced residents of Barbuda. Hurricane Irma struck the nation of Barbuda in September, where it destroyed 90% of the country's infrastructure. All of the island's residents are now in temporary housing in Dominica and Antigua. The vice president of the church's Inter-American region, James Daniels, says the church is preparing to enter another phase of relief effort. He says members will help restore infrastructures, including churches, schools, and properties.
The need for earthquake relief assistance throughout several states in Mexico is far from over. Destructive earthquakes struck the nation's central and southwestern regions 2 weeks apart in September. The quakes injured thousands, destroyed towns, and killed hundreds. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency in Mexico is on target to deliver a total of 13,000 food baskets by the end of the month. In the states of Morelos and Puebla alone, 1,000 families have received roof sheets through the combined efforts of ADRA and local government authorities. The Secretariat of Social Development has partnered with ADRA in Mexico City, and together they are distributing food vouchers for families in dire need. ADRA Mexico's efforts have been led by its president, Cesar Hernandez, but Hernandez said ADRA could not have carried out its work without support from local churches. Hernandez said the assistance has been possible thanks to hundreds of church member volunteers led by local ADRA coordinators who have assembled the goods and delivered the food to the thousands still struggling to rebuild their lives.
Coming up, parents create an Adventist homeschool program in North European Russia.
But up next, see which Adventist film from Brazil was recently awarded as the best evangelistic film.
My daughter was sick, and she had to go to the hospital. And I was still working outside of the home. So my job, they didn't trust me. They felt that I wanted to stay home so bad with my kids that I would lie, or I would, cheat their time in order to be home with my children. And when people don't trust you like that at a job, that just makes you feel like, why should I even be here? So again, I prayed and I asked God to just please help me out of this situation. Please, I know you know the answer. I don't know what else I could do.
Welcome back.
Two films affiliated with the Adventist Church were recognized last week by an international competition.
O Resgate, Salvação ao Extremo, or Rescue Salvation to the Extreme, and Escolhas were recognized by the International Christian Film Festival.
Rescue was awarded Best Medium-Length Film and Best Film during the 5th annual festival. It was produced by 7 films at the request of Adventist leaders of South America.
The film follows a couple who encounter a storm as they climb a mountain in Chile. Rescue was also awarded the 2017 Best Evangelistic Film Trophy. The recognition is said to be one of the festival's most notable awards.
Here's an ANN exclusive of Rescue Salvation to the Extreme.
Sorria.
Tá bom assim?
Ai, que lindo.
Só não esquece de colocar na legenda da foto, tá? O rei da montanha.
Tem gelo no topo da montanha, mas me dá um pouco de medo.
Medo de quê, meu amor?
Não sei dizer. Acho que é porque a montanha ainda é um território desconhecido pra mim.
Eu conheço tudo nessa montanha, meu. Pode ficar tranquila que eu não vou deixar nada atrapalhar nossa escalada.
Emitiendo una alerta para todos los montañistas. Posible tempestad se está aproximando. Retorne cuanto antes al campamento base. Cambio fuera.
A gente tem que voltar, Adam. A gente tem que sair daqui, mas...
Ana, eu não quero voltar. Tenta entender, é o meu sonho.
No sabemos si tu hermano está con vida. Ya pasaron 48 horas y no tenemos comunicación con radio.
Mas que rota eles pegaram?
El conocido atajo del diablo.
The second film that was awarded during the International Christian Film Festival was Escolhas, or Choices.
The film was named the festival's best fiction film. It was created to underscore the importance of reaching out to members who have left the church.
Visit news.adventist.org to read more about the films.
The church's social media strategist, Emily Mastrapa, last week highlighted World Toilet Day, which took place Sunday. She outlined ways you could use your online presence to raise awareness of this global crisis.
It may be difficult to grasp what life looks like for the 4.5 billion people around the world who don't have toilets or sanitary means to dispose their waste.
To get a glimpse of the impact, see how one latrine revitalized a community in Cambodia.
We first heard about the Reflect group when the ADRA supervisor came to visit us in our home. She invited me to join a women's group that would be starting in our village. She also told us about certain benefits that the group members would be able to take advantage of. One of the things that really caught my attention was when she said that as a member of the ADRA women's group, we would be eligible to have a toilet system built right by our house at a subsidized cost. I was very interested in that because we didn't have a toilet. All our lives, we have had to just go out into the bush when we need to go. This has been very difficult for me and my family. Using the bush as your toilet is not nice at all, especially when it is dark. You have to deal with mosquitoes, wild animals, and poisonous snakes. When it is rainy and slippery, it just makes it so much worse. Now we will have a clean and sanitary system that is enclosed, that is safe and private. The ADRA team is outside right now installing our toilet. I am so excited and happy for this. The subsidy that ADRA is providing for the toilet system has been a big help. We have always wanted to have a toilet, but we just have not been able to afford the cost of putting in a latrine and a septic system. With the help from ADRA, we had just enough to pay the difference. It has worked out perfectly. I am so grateful to ADRA Canada for bringing this program to our community. We have already learned a lot of good information on health, sanitation, nutrition, and parenting in our Reflect circles. And now, today, we are getting our own latrine. Thank you, ADRA.
A group of Adventist parents in Archangel, Russia are now at ease with their children's schooling. Christian education is now available to the community through a homeschool program.
The church's Euro-Asia region sent this report.
In Russia, unsatisfaction of school education is rising. More and more parents are thinking how to avoid negative influence of school and at the same time follow the interests of their children. Not seeing any alternative, some parents start homeschooling with their children. 2 years ago, several Adventist families in Arkhangelsk decided to start homeschooling. They would like their children to study at Christian school, but the nearest one is more than 1,000 kilometers away. So God inspired us to create Christian-centered homeschooling in our city. With the support of the local community, we rented an office, bought some needed equipment, and on the 1st of September 2017, this center started its work.
Я учусь в христианском центре семейного обучения.
Что ты здесь изучаешь?
Изучаем английский язык, русский язык, окружающий мир, уроки мудрости, математика.
Мне нравится на уроках мудрости, когда нам рассказывают что-то про животных, что-то из Библии. Мы в конце урока всегда молимся. Потом играем в разные игры.
In the morning, we hold a special lesson which we call wisdom lesson. Pastor or teacher discuss with children different questions, such as, do we need rules? When should we help others? What is jealousy? Did God create predators? What character would God like to help us to form? Such lessons usually finish with a prayer, followed by a funny game. Now we have 8 children studying at our center. 2 of them are from non-Adventist families. The capacity of the class is up to 10 students. Boys and girls visit the center twice a week. They also do home tasks as well as visit sports and musical schools. Our children have enough time both for school and for hobby and for free play. They are less stressed. At the moment, the center is providing primary school education. From January 2018, we are planning to start courses for preschool children, courses of English, and maybe some more. We see how God led and is leading us now, and He is blessing us too. The center got support from the local community, conference, and union, and we're so thankful to our wonderful God for His inspiration and His miracles.
La la la.
And finally, for the news this week, ADRA Canada is also helping youth in another remote village in Cambodia through an unconventional method, volleyball.
See how the sport is used to promote productive decision-making skills regarding their health and behavior.
We decided to form the volleyball leagues in the villages because we wanted the youth to know about the messages of the Embrace program, such as health and nutrition. The youth in the village have a lot of free time on their hands. Some tend to use this time unwisely by drinking or taking drugs. Through the volleyball program, we want to encourage them to use their free time to do something healthy, like play sports. It has been going well. ADRA sponsors the program by buying the nets, the balls, and the uniforms that the players wear when they compete. We also hire a trainer to come in and do workshops to teach the young people how to play the game well. In each village, we recruit enough young people to have 2 teams so that they can practice against each other before going out to compete against another village. We are already seeing a lot of positive changes in the villages that have joined the volleyball program. They no longer have time to get into trouble, drink alcohol, take drugs, or get involved in gangs. They are building friendly relationships with the youth of other villages as they compete with each other. We believe that it is important to educate the youth about good health and nutrition at this age because they will soon be parents themselves. And as they become the father of a small child, they will already know all of the Embrace principles of good health. Volleyball has been a good way to teach health. When we do have a competition, there are prizes that go out to the winners. Instead of trophies, we give prizes like gardening equipment, seeds, buckets, and watering cans. We are encouraging them to plant their own organic gardens. We are teaching them that the food they grow themselves is much healthier than the food that they will buy in the market because it is grown without the use of pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Eating healthy will make them better players. The food is fresh, going right from the garden to the cooking pot. It doesn't have time to wilt at the market. When they don't have to go to the market to buy their food, they have more time to practice or do other work in the fields. With the foods they are growing, they can now make sure that they and their families are getting nutritious meals, well balanced from the 3 major food groups. So, even though it is a volleyball program, we are really promoting healthy living and all the benefits of growing gardens for themselves and their families.
Coming up, use social media to participate in the global mission of the Adventist Church.
But up next, learn what tragic incident in France has been called the blackest in the black catalog of crime.
Do you have sitting disease?
I don't know.
Do you sit all day?
Yes.
Are you known to your friends as a sitaholic?
Yes.
Do you sit all day at work, then get home and sit even more?
I do.
Data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination shows that more than half of people sit at least 6 hours a day. This sitting time has been linked to metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and a whole slew of other problems. If you have been sitting for more than an hour, you've been sitting too long.
We've got to get up.
By cutting your sitting time in half, you can increase your life expectancy by up to 2 years. Find ways you can stand more during your day. Pace when walking on your phone. Have walk and talk meetings. Set an alarm to remind you to walk every hour. Stand up and start living longer today.
Welcome back.
The royal decree to slaughter all Protestants in France was issued when thousands traveled to Paris for a wedding.
It is estimated that 70,000 people were killed as a result of what began during the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre.
Learn more in this week's episode of Lineage.
In 1572, here in Paris, an event took place that has been described in the book Great Controversy as blackest in the black catalogue of crimes. On the 24th of August, St. Bartholomew's Massacre began. As the bells sounded at night, a slaughter began of the French Protestants who were in the city. There were more of them than usual because they had gathered for the wedding of one of their leaders. And in the night, they were dragged from their houses and murdered in cold blood. The slaughter continued here in the city of Paris for 7 days, and then it spread abroad to other cities like Lyon and Rouen and Orleans. And some people estimate that up to 70,000 people were killed over the next weeks and months. Two days before St. Bartholomew's, the king's mother, Catherine, ordered the assassination of Admiral Gaspard de Coligny, a Huguenot leader. The assassination attempt failed, and they feared that the Huguenots would launch a counterattack. And so the second time round, they made sure and they killed the admiral in his bed. And then the killing spree started. The butchery continued for 7 months across the whole of France. Many of those who were killed were great and honorable people in society, as commoners and nobility alike suffered the same fate. Two or three governors refused to obey the king's orders, and one of these, called Montmorin, wrote a letter that deserves to be repeated. Sire, I have received an order under your majesty's seal to put to death all the Protestants in my province. I have too much respect for your majesty not to believe the letter is a forgery, but if, which God forbid, the order should be genuine, I have too much respect for your majesty to obey it. When the news reached Rome, the response was jubilant and very undiplomatic. The joy amongst the clergy knew no bounds. The Cardinal of Lorraine rewarded the messenger with 1,000 crowns. The cannon of St. Angelo thundered a joyous salute, and the bells on every steeple rang throughout the city. Gregory XIII, accompanied by cardinals and other ecclesiastical dignitaries, led a procession to the Church of St. Louis, where the Cardinal of Lorraine led a chant of Te Deum. A medal was struck to commemorate the massacre, and in the Vatican today can be seen the 3 frescoes of Vasari describing the attack on the admiral, the king in council plotting the massacre, and the massacre itself. St. Bartholomew's was one of those events that helped to create a shared identity between Lutherans, Calvin's Reformed Church, and the Anglicans. Catholicism was the other, and the violence directed towards Protestants created a shared sense of injustice and solidarity that spread through our international Protestantism. St. Bartholomew's remains one of the many stains on the Catholic Church when the tragic consequences of the union of church and state were seen in full effect. In the Bible, Jesus said that we should render to Caesar, or the state, that which is Caesar, and to God that which is God's, meaning that church and state should remain separate. May we defend the freedoms of those we agree with and those we disagree with for freedom. Religious freedom is something that God wants for everyone.
Are you familiar with the church's Urban Mission Center? It's one of 6 centers designed to reach people of different religions, cultures, and worldviews.
Emily Mistrapa is here to share how ministries and cities relate to the global mission of the church.
Today, more than 500 cities have populations of more than 1 million. There are now more than 20 megacities in the world, each with more than 10 million inhabitants. As urban populations increase, the need to reach cities is more urgent than ever. Global Mission is the frontier mission arm of the church. Since 1990, they have established new congregations in previously unreached areas of the world. Global Mission focuses attention on the most unreached people groups. They have set up study centers around the world to help Adventists build bridges to other world religions and communities. Through personal contact, the study centers help Adventists explain their beliefs to people with a different worldview. You can learn more about the study centers by visiting global/mission.org. You can help reach people by raising awareness of the unique challenges that urban settings can bring. To learn more about how you can help, visit the Global Mission Facebook page at ADV Global Mission. And let us know what you're doing to raise awareness on Twitter or Facebook at Adventist News.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Kenry Hilton for a look at Adventist history.
See how this little baby would help Loma Linda University Medical Center become a reputable hospital for heart transplants.
On November 20, 1985, Eddie Anguiano, better known as Baby Moses, at 4 days of age, became the youngest person in the world to undergo a heart transplant at Loma Linda University Medical Center. To date, over 150 babies under 6 months of age have received new hearts at Loma Linda University Medical Center with an overall success rate of approximately 80%. The tiny little hearts weigh just about 1 ounce. Also this week, on November 25, 2016, Juan Carlos Vieira died in Beaumont, California at the age of 78. He had served the Seventh-day Adventist Church for more than 40 years, first as a pastor and evangelist in South America, then as conference and union president. Eventually, Vieira undertook the role of director of the Ellen G. White Estate at the General Conference, a position he held until his retirement. He was the first director to be born outside of the United States, as he was a native of Uruguay. Vieira authored several books including Ready to Meet Christ, The Voice of the Spirit, and Year 2000, Will This Be the End? After he retired, Vieira served for 15 years as Spanish translator for the Pacific Press Association. In addition to translating the Ellen G. White notes published by Pacific Press, he also translated all the books produced by the Jesus 101 Biblical Institute. Vieira left a legacy of service that is a testament to his dedication to God and the mission of the church. As we reflect on this season, let us give thanks for those who have accepted the call to mission and have served so earnestly throughout their lives. And that was This Week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
We'd love to hear from you. Send us your feedback and tell us how your church is making a difference in its community.
Be sure to capture plenty of video footage and photos, then write up a summary of the event's important details. And feel free to send full video reports as well.
You can reach us by sending an email to annvideo11@gmail.com.
In honor of the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, here's some good news from the book of Psalms, chapter 107, verse 8 and 9.
The passage says, "Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for mankind, for he satisfies the thirsty and fills the hungry with good things."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.